Nutnfancy Part 2 of medium sized, and that's 2,000 to 3,500 cubic inch backpacks. And I'm using two models as my reference packs. More than anything, the Kelty Redwing, you're looking right at it. And I'm also going to cover the GoLite Continuum as we go. I left off talking about the suspension and comfort. Both packs offer great comfort even under load, and I find them to be outstanding in that department. That takes us to durability and materials. Well, remember I told you about the nylon webbing, and you can tell a quality nylon webbing because it's thin, it has a very low nap, and it has kind of a sheen to it. That's very high quality nylon webbing. And Kelty uses that, and so does GoLite. If it's that plush looking nylon webbing, it sucks, and it actually is going to lower the durability of your straps because they're going to fuzz up and snag on stuff, and also they're going to add weight. But as far as the fabric itself goes, the Kelty Redwing actually uses a lightweight Cordura type nylon. At least this model does, and they have changed it through the years. They go to pack cloth, they go to this kind, and I think the current Redwings are using a heavy duty pack cloth, kind of along the lines of the Kelty Super Tioga that I reviewed. Either one works fine. I do find this Cordura type fabric to be very wear resistant. However, it is heavier, just a little bit. And that takes us to the GoLite type backpacks. They use a very lightweight ripstop nylon. Now, I showed you in a previous video how that will tear. In fact, there's that tear I showed you, and I've since repaired it with some clear pack cloth repair tape on the other side. And that is the downside again for a lightweight pack, in my opinion and in my experience. And there's no free lunch, at least not yet. And technology may advance where you're not going to lose anything in durability by going lightweight. But with a GoLite and other backpacks of similar fashion, these lightweight materials are not going to be as durable. If I go brush busting with this, and that's I think how I cut the pack, then you're going to slice your pack bag up, as opposed to the Redwing, which is indeed heavier, but it's more durable. It's built like a tank. You know, it can take the abuse, and that's why you'll be on the trail sometimes, and you'll see some dude crank past you with a Redwing from 1976 or something. That's how long those packs last. They're just out there, and that's the coolest thing in the world when you see an old-timer coming by with an old Kelty pack. I always stop and visit with them. It's just cool. Anyways, both are durable. However, I will give the edge in durability to, again, my reference backpack, the Kelty Redwing. Nicely done. And I didn't talk really on the versatility on the GoLite Continuum. Let me do that. And again, the models do change over time. But look to these features, and that's the main. The Redwing might be around. The GoLite's going to change its models. I hate how they do that. I wish they would just stick with a model, but that's the way the manufacturers make their money. They're always trying to upgrade and entice you. These are the two pockets on the GoLite, and that's one reason I got this version, because at least it has four pockets, really. Two big mesh pockets, relatively big for this size pack. Here you see a water bottle in one. There's your compression straps, which also I can put long devices on the side, like fishing poles, fly fishing carry cases, or fly fishing pole carry cases. And what do you know? I got a fishing pole on this one. See how that goes under your compression straps and anchors into your mesh pocket. You can keep first aid equipment back here, whatever you need. I love those pockets. By the way, if you hike with your pole like that, be real careful. I've snapped my tips off before. It's almost better to hand carry your pole, except then you can't use your hiking poles because that tip's delicate. If you go under brush, you can snap or snag your tip real easy. But getting back to these pockets, here's those waterproof zippers that I really like. And actually, these ones are very easy to actuate. But these, excuse me, these zippers are allegedly waterproof. I haven't really been in a huge downpour in the GoLite, just a sprinkle, so I haven't really tested that. But look how they waterproof the top of the zipper too in GoLite. That's a great attention to detail. So as the water pours down your pack bag, it won't trickle into the weakest part of the zipper, and that is the slider area. I love that. But you could put your knives, tools, probably soft items would be best to put back here. If you put heavy things, you're going to throw off the balance of the pack. Generally, you want your heavier stuff closer to your back for balance, generally. I love that. And then you have a couple lash places back here for the GoLite Continuum. Now, looking on the bottom, do you have gear lashing places like the Redwing? No, you don't. That's a limitation. Nor do you have it on the top. This is another pocket, this thing right here. So I usually put my soft stuff up here, maybe fleece items, jacket perhaps. But therein is another versatility of the Redwing. Let's say I'm hiking and I'm shedding layers as I go. It's easier for me to put that layer in this than it is for me to stop and put my layer in here. Because where am I going to put? I guess I can anchor it, and I have anchored it under here, but then as I hike, it kind of just falls down, and next thing you know, my whole jacket's draping down, and that's not a good way to ride. It's real easy for me to just pop this panel open, stuff my jacket in, bam, I'm done. Again, the versatility of a panel loading day pack just is really hard to beat. How about quality and feel on these two backpacks? They're both excellent. When you handle them and look at them, you'll come away impressed. But there's a lot of different makers and brands that will provide that level of quality. Camelback is one of my favorites in this size range. I love Camelback, and you'll see me do some reviews on them just because I love them so much. Durability, I talked about that. Lashing capability. I think I've discussed that enough. With the Redwing, it's excellent. With the GoLite, very limited. Yeah, you can put stuff on the side, but where else are you going to lash? I mean, you got a couple places here that you can utilize, but top and bottom, no lashing options. Track record and warranty. I've spoken before about Kelty's warranty. It's top-notch, proven by me personally several times. They will stand 100% behind their product. I have never had occasion to use GoLite's warranty, so I don't know. However, I do know GoLite's still around. It's very popular, and it probably would not be so if it did not have a following. And so I think a lot of the GoLite products, to be honest, and I think they serve a very good purpose. When weight counts a lot, and it pretty much does usually, a GoLite brand backpack is a great way to go. Finally, sorry for the blip, battery died, so I had to join them. Anyways, I left off talking about the GoLite is a great choice when weight is a primary consideration where you're going, and I love it. I wouldn't own it if I didn't, trust me. One thing I wanted to show you is the Camo version of the Redwing. Sometimes they have these, sometimes they do not. And I bought this in a year they were producing them. They called it at the time the Apache 3000. And you can see that it's designed for hunters. And it is the same backpack in camo form using, real tree camo. Also, it's a different fabric altogether. It is not the nylon fabric that I said before. Excuse me. In other words, Cordura. This is actually a fleece type hunter's fabric, so it's quiet in the bush, and then it's vinyl backed. Now, along with that, that means it's a little bit heavier. This is 3 pounds 6 ounces, 3,000 cubic inch backpack, this Apache. So it's a little bit smaller than my large size Redwing. By the way, Redwings come in different sizes, medium and large. At least they have in the past. So watch that and make sure you size it to your torso size. That's mainly what you would determine what size you'd go with. Also, how much gear you want to take. But this Apache is awesome. I love the tactical colors on it. It's got OD compression straps, high quality webbing. Same features as before. They use an OD bottom with Cordura. Hypalon gear attachment points, very nice. And I'm going to use this to show you the interior of the Kelty Redwing. And here you see the virtue of the panel load. See how that comes unzipped and I have access to all my gear. And Kelty is putting, at least the latest models have put a light colored interior. That's a newer thing that a lot of manufacturers are doing. I love that. Mountain Smith has done that too. They put yellow interiors often in their packs so you can see what you're looking for. There's no need to go tactical or black inside the backpack. Speaking of colors, generally Nutnfancy prefers the subdued colors. Can you tell that? That's another reason I love that GoLite. It's olive, drab, and black. And this Kelty is a light sage green. I love those colors. That's just me. I like subdued colors because sometimes I don't want to be seen. Call me crazy. Back to the interior though, here's your hydration pocket here. And as you can see, and as I criticize or critique this design for it doesn't have a plastic anchor point for your Camelback. And what am I talking about? You may not remember, but Here's your hydration bladder, and see, most Camelback brands and other brands have a hook. Okay, and you need something to put that hook on, and they need to put a plastic attachment point. I'll cure that. I'll sew my own in there, but they should just do it. There's where you'll route your water tube through. Let's look at the other pockets. Oh, by the way, notice this. This is another way to find the quality of your backpack. These are called finished seams. They don't have an exposed seam. Instead, they put whatever that's called, like seam tape over it, and they fold it over and sew it. That way you don't have your fabric unraveling on you as you hike and as the pack gets used. Now, they'll do that where it's critical, but it does add weight. In other words, this is a high wear surface here, so they went ahead and put seam tape on it. Or binding tape is better said, not seam tape. Now, over here, notice they did not use it. And does that mean it's poor quality? No. What they're saying is that right here, we don't want to put the extra weight on there. At least that's what I think. But you can see how the fabric's exposed. So high wear areas, like on the interior here, they have used binding tape on it. Let's look at the pockets real quick on the Kelty. And this is a black interior here. I guess they're trying to keep in line with the hunter theme. Here's your cell phone pocket, small items pocket, keychain. I never use this. This is, I guess, for your car keys to attach to. That's okay. It does add a little extra weight to have these features in there. I like them though. And then here's your other pocket. No gizmos in there. But that's the Apache 3000. It's the camo hunter version of the Kelty Redwing. That's that. That's the review of the medium-sized daypacks is what I'm going to call them. Kelty Redwing is my reference in all situations. Try to look for those features, and that's just me. I mean, that's my preference. You guys might like tube loading backpacks like the GoLite, and I don't mind it, and I do use that backpack, and I keep it in the inventory, and there's certain scenarios where I can deal with its limitations. Actually, that's 2,400 cubic inches, too. That has less size capacity than the Redwing. Nutnfancy signing off. I hope this answered your questions. If I forgot something, I know I did. I may pop an annotation on the video as we go. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the ratings, the subscriptions, and the good ratings. Much appreciated. This is Nutnfancy signing off. Till next time. See ya.